Be mindful. You may never know who knows somebody, who kin to somebody, who saw what you posted. Because you're going to have to stand on business. Ross, big homie. First of all, you know it love. Second of all, I got to call a spade when it's a spade. You say you did it for free. Everybody do it for free, Ross.
Davis and Ross were say good buddies, okay? They're gay. Who? Both. Eddie and Ross.
Man, this one had the whole internet in flames. DC Young Fly, the king of quick comebacks and no-filter jokes, went off on Rick Ross live on stage, and the way it went down had fans losing their minds. What started as a playful exchange turned into one of the wildest public call-outs hip-hop and comedy have seen in a minute. Nobody expected DC to take it there, but when he did, the crowd erupted. He looked Ross straight in the eye and said, and just like that, the energy in the room shifted. Cameras went up, social media blew up, and within minutes clips were everywhere. TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, you name it. Here's what actually went down. The event was supposed to be fun. A live taping where DC was hosting, cracking jokes and roasting celebrities like he always does. Everything was smooth until Rick Ross came out trying to flex his boss image like he always does. Big chains, security behind him, sunglasses inside the building, you know the vibe. But DC, being DC, couldn't resist throwing a few lighthearted jabs, saying, "Man, you got more lemon pepper wings than hit records lately." The crowd laughed. Ross smiled at first, but you could tell he wasn't really feeling it.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just...
But then you
we could have those debates. We really could.
Templar was off the chain.
I mean,
You know what I'm saying?
and I like the way
It's a
you
different
followed up
time.
hustling with pushing it. Like, how did you know to come right back on their ass with
You got to.
Right.
Man, just don't take the foot off the gas at all.
Out of nowhere, Ross stood up and left.
Use the restroom one time and I'm gonna take this jacket off.
Let's do it.
Yeah, you can't.
Man,
you
stay
can't
tuned.
You can't take your foot off for nothing.
All gay.
Oh, I'm talking about for life.
That's when things got tense. Rick Ross tried to fire back, calling DC Young Fly a comedian who never made real money. The crowd booed, and DC didn't let it slide for a second. He leaned in and said, "At least I don't pretend to be something I'm not." Boom. The whole audience gasped. People started chanting. Phones went up, and DC turned the moment into a mix of comedy gold and raw truth. You could see Ross trying to keep his cool, but he was heated. Jaw tight, glasses coming off, security inching closer. DC didn't flinch. He doubled down, saying, "You call yourself the biggest boss, but everybody around you eating off lies." The crowd went wild. That one line flipped the whole room upside down. Fans were laughing, screaming, recording, and DC kept roasting Ross like he was back on Wild 'N Out. But this wasn't just jokes. DC was hitting real nerves. The way he said it, it wasn't just comedy. It was truth wrapped in humor, and that's what made it sting. Rick Ross tried to play it off, but DC Young Fly owned that. After that moment, social media crowned him the winner, saying he did what nobody else in the industry had the guts to do. Call out Rick Ross to his face.
Yeah, I get it.
But I give a because
Try to make it
put
bad.
you as a person.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Before, okay, let's just say before all that happened, right?
Yeah.
Let's just say before all that happened. Bro, I'm listening to you, Ross. I
Yeah.
feel like you wanted to. Hey! Shut the up! I'm listening to you, Ross. I feel like you probably one of the best lyricists from the South that we got. You dig what I'm saying? Like, you poetic, bro. When I listen to your music, I think you put a lot of time and effort into this.
After that viral moment, the internet absolutely exploded. Fans were posting clips with captions like "DC Young Fly just ended Rick Ross' ego and Ross picked the wrong one to mess with." Within hours, the video hit millions of views across every platform. Everyone was talking. Comedians, rappers, fans, even bloggers. Some said DC went too far. Others said Ross deserved it. But no matter which side people chose, one thing was clear. DC Young Fly stood his ground like a real one. Behind the scenes, people started digging into the history between the two. Apparently, DC had felt some type of way for a while. Word on the street was that Rick Ross had promised to feature him on a project years back. But once things got bigger, he ghosted him. DC never spoke publicly on it, until now. So when he called Ross a fraud, it wasn't random. It came from real frustration. He was tired of the fake industry love, the people who smile in your face then move shady behind the scenes. When he said, "You act like a boss, but you move like a brand," he wasn't just roasting. He was speaking for everyone who ever felt played by fake power. What made the moment legendary was how DC handled himself. He never lost control. He used comedy like a weapon, sharp, precise, and brutal. He joked about Ross flexing money he doesn't spend, living in mansions he rents, calling himself a hustler while his own label artists struggle. People in the crowd were howling. It felt like DC Young Fly turned the stage into a courtroom and Rick Ross was on trial. The energy was electric. The crowd was chanting DC name, and even folks on Ross' own team couldn't help laughing at how bad it looked.
You lead our show. You went and did a podcast, a white podcast. You sat your ass right there for almost 2 hours.
And didn't leave.
And you talk. And them white folk asked your ass, was you a correctional officer?
Yeah.
We would have never asked you no shit like that, nigga, 'cause we got respect for you.
Right.
And you sat right there and you answered that question so eloquently, eloquently.
Eloquently, right.
You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
After the show, the clips went viral instantly. Rick Ross tried to laugh it off in an Instagram post saying, "Comedian's gone joke. I'm still the biggest boss," but nobody was buying it. The comments were flooded with clown emojis and DC1 messages. Fans said Ross' response felt weak compared to DC raw confidence. Even some longtime Ross supporters admitted, yeah, DC cooked him. Then celebrities started chiming in. 50 Cent reposted the clip with laughing emojis saying, "Guess the Wingstop man finally got roasted." That sent the internet into absolute chaos. This moment wasn't just comedy anymore. It exposed something bigger. Fans are tired of the fake boss talk in hip-hop. DC words hit because they came from a real place. He's self-made, authentic, and doesn't need a persona to prove anything. That's why people loved it. He stood up to a music mogul and said what so many were scared to say out loud.
Man, I came to your podcast. I came for free, homie, no charge. I did it on face, homie. I didn't ask you what your analytics was and this and that. I came on face, homie, to show love. And don't make it like I walked off on you. I left early. Rose had some other things to do too. But guess what? I came for free. And next time I come for free, at least have me some lemon pepper Wingstop at that. You heard me? But I came for free. I ain't charge you. You feel me? Don't talk about Rose other business. I came and did that for free. And what is the analytics? How the show doing anyway, man? I'll come back on it and when I'm gonna walk off that the next time and this bitch say, Rose, was I doing? Of course not.
What happened next made things even more intense. Days after the incident, reports started spreading that Rick Ross wasn't taking the situation lightly. Sources close to him claimed he felt disrespected and planned to handle it privately. And when Ross says handle, everyone knows he's not talking about a friendly phone call. But DC Young Fly, he wasn't worried at all. At his next comedy show, he doubled down, telling the crowd, "I don't need security to say the truth." The crowd went wild. You could tell he wasn't backing down, not even an inch. He explained that he wasn't trying to start beef. He was exposing fake energy. He said, "Too many people in the game act real until you say something they don't like." Then he joked, "Y'all love calling yourselves bosses, but your employees scared to talk to you." That line hit hard because it summed up what fans had been saying about Rick Ross for years. Behind the flashy cars and business ventures, some people say he treats others like pawns, and DC called out the hypocrisy behind the
Big homie.
First of all, you know it love. Second of all, I got to call a spade when it's a spade. You say you did it for free. Everybody do it for free, Ross. You ain't the only nigga who did it for free. T.I. do it for free. Busta Rhymes did it for free. Snoop Dogg did it for free. Everybody who sat on that couch do it for free. Now, that wasn't the biggest moment. Now, that's one of the viral moments, but Boosie episode 8 million. Got Country Wayne shit like 6-7 million. Like, we do numbers, we do analytics. Our analytics, we was the biggest before you came, and we was the biggest afterwards. So you always got room to come back to be on the biggest podcast in the world, correct? You dig what I'm saying? But when you call a spade, it get.
Meanwhile, Rick Ross tried to regain control. He began posting motivational quotes, flexing stacks of cash, and sharing clips of himself buying new properties. But fans weren't fooled. The more he flexed, the more people commented, "He's trying too hard." You could tell Ross was rattled. For the first time, the man who built his brand on power and control got checked in front of millions, and it stung. Even rappers who rarely speak on drama started throwing subtle shade. One wrote, "Real ones don't need to remind people they're bosses." Meanwhile, DC Young Fly kept winning. The moment elevated him not just as a comedian, but as a truth teller in the culture. During an interview, he said, "You can't be mad at honesty. If the shoe fits, you gotta wear it." That quote went viral. People respect DC because he represents something real. Confidence that comes from being authentic, not from money or fame. That's why fans rallied behind him. By the end of the week, the clip of DC roasting Ross had racked up over 20 million views. Memes, remixes, edits, everything. What DC did wasn't just comedy. It was a cultural moment. He took the mic and turned it into a mirror, forcing one of hip-hop's biggest names to face reality in front of everyone. DC Young Fly's career skyrocketed. More bookings, brand deals, interviews, and through all of it, he stayed humble. In one interview, he said, "I wasn't trying to beef. I was just being real. If the truth makes you mad, that's your problem." He turned a heated moment into a lesson about standing on your word. This whole situation made people look at the entertainment industry differently. Fame can't protect you from being called out. DC proved you don't need $1 million deal to speak facts. Sometimes the realest person in the room is the one willing to risk it all by telling the truth. Fans say this was one of those rare moments where comedy met courage, where laughter turned into accountability. Rick Ross still hasn't addressed the situation head-on, which only makes people talk more. Some insiders claim he's trying to repair his image behind the scenes, working on new music and business moves to distract from the backlash. But every time his name trends, someone brings up that clip. It's like DC branded that word, fraud, onto Ross' public image forever. Fans don't see it as disrespect, they see it as a wake-up call. Because at the end of the day, DC Young Fly didn't just roast Rick Ross. He exposed a mindset that's been running the industry for years. He proved that truth doesn't need a spotlight. Truth is the spotlight. What started as a comedy roast became a cultural reset. DC Young Fly showed that no matter how rich or powerful you are, if your image is built on lies, someone real will always pull your card. And that night on that stage, DC Young Fly did exactly that, and the fans went crazy.